I think people who try and dismiss all their problems and say, "Oh man, we just live on a giant floating rock in space, like nothing we do matters." I think those people are really fucking cringe. There's definitely a way to look at life like that without just being an obnoxious douchebag. Personally, I understand that. Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, my life probably isn't that impactful to a lot of things, you know. I'm not like even just out of an earthly kind of scale, you know, the universe is so big, like it does like what I do doesn't really matter. You know, at the end of the day it doesn't really matter. But I don't take that concept of what we do doesn't matter into a place that's like, yeah, I'm gonna like life doesn't matter, bro. Like we could just like fuck the system. Like obviously like I hate people who are cringe like that. I would much rather try and have like a positive like outlook on it because that's just depressing. Having the idea of nothing you do matters and the world will just keep on spinning without you. That's such a depressing thought, you know. And I used to think like that. But now I think one moment in my life made me realize it's like, yeah, you know what? My life is kind of insignificant in the grand scheme of things. Even if we were to even close in as much as we can on just like America, maybe just in Texas, maybe just in my town, maybe just in like I'm probably not the most influential person ever, you know. So, if that's the case, why would I hold myself to such impossible standards if like what I do doesn't really matter, you know? If like I used to really never like myself. Like I always thought that I wasn't doing enough or I wasn't funny enough or I wasn't nice enough or I wasn't this or I was such a detriment, you know? I wasn't bringing anything positive to the people around me. And I hated myself for that. And then I realized it's like, okay, if nothing matters, if we're all just on a big rock in the middle of space, if nothing really matters, why am I so hard on myself? Why am I so hard on myself if this doesn't matter? If if in 100 years time and I'm dead and I'm in the ground, what would would have rather done? You know, if I'm like on my deathbed, would I look back and say I'm so glad that like I was so hard on myself, even though none of this matters. And like I hated myself every minute of my life because of some stupid reason, even though none of this matters, you know? No, it's like that sucks. That sucks. That doesn't that sucks. That's not fun. That's not fun, you know? I realize if I just live my life for enjoyment, for just not being sad, you know, doing things that make me happy, doing things that bring me joy. That just makes my life just so much better, you know? Not being as hard on myself for a lot of things, not allowing myself to sit in those dark thoughts. That just makes my life better. You know, it just makes life a little bit more worth living in a sense, you know. I like I really just started thinking, okay, well, if none of this matters, then none of it matters. And I can kind of do what I want to do. And what I want to do is be happy. You know, like I want to just wake up in the morning and not hate myself. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to take steps in order to not wake up and hate myself. Because if none of this matters, let me do something that I enjoy. You know what? I'd rather just be happy than be sad. And I'm gonna do things in order to be happier instead of be sad. Like I've come up with so many like bucket list ideas, kind of ideas that I want to do before I die because it's like, yeah, let me just I want to write a book. I want to write a book before I die. That sounds cool. You know, I want to create something, whether it be like a book that I'm planning or a video game which I want to learn how to code. Like videos, which I just made a video today. Like, I just want to do things that bring me joy because yeah, if in 100 years I'm gonna look back and I'm gonna say, You know, yeah, I had a very like I figured it out. I figured out how to just exist and be happy and be content and be like, yeah, this is cool. I'm happy. You know, at the end of the day, you're living your life through your eyes. You can't you can't easily imagine yourself as this big picture of a character. You can't imagine yourself unless you're like literally like a public official or something, or like a celebrity, someone with like mass influence type shit. Like if you're just a normal person like you, like me, if you're a normal dude like me who just goes to work, comes home, makes some videos, that's really it. Who gives a shit? You know, who really gives a fuck? I'm like, no one's like checking. No one's checking you. You know, you're good. You're in your own little lane. You can do what you want. You can live the life that you want. You just have to do it, you know. And I don't mean like, oh, you can live the life, you can be rich if you want to. I mean like you can just be happy. There's happiness does or money doesn't buy happiness, but it makes happiness a lot easier to attain. You can be happy and be poor. It's a lot easier to be happy if you're rich. And I think like I don't personally I don't think if I had a lot more money I'd be happier. I think I'd just be at work less. That's really it. If I had more money, I would still have a lot of issues in my life that would tear me down. But the way I find my happiness, the way I find my joy is just through things I enjoy playing video games, so I play video games a lot. I enjoy playing with my Legos, so I play with my Legos sometimes, you know? Like I just do things that I find enjoyable. What I'm trying to say is that you you don't need to be you don't need to be sad. You don't need to be this mysterious, this like, oh, no one understands me. No one even understands that none of this matters. Like, you don't need to do that. You can have the mindset and the idea that yeah, we are here for a finite time. We probably won't have that much of an impact in the grand scheme of things. None of the major actions that I will take in my life will alter human history, you know? So, at that point, you can either diverge it into saying, man, life sucks because I don't have impact, or saying, huh, cool. I'm gonna go do whatever the fuck I want now. You know, I'm gonna go play Roblox for 3 hours and jerk off. That sounds great. Not at the same time. It's a kid's game. Preferably you jerk off afterwards, unless you're like the Roblox CEOs. Boom, tie in, haha. You get the point though. Live the life that you want to live. You know, we don't have a lot of time. You don't have you don't have the ability to miss opportunities, you know. Take the risks, do what you want, live the life that makes you happy. Live a life that you would look back upon and say, "Yeah, that was pretty rad." Thank you.